You know that feeling, right? One day, a new product, maybe a hot stock tip, or even a local sports team isn't really on your radar at all. The next, it feels like everyone is talking about it, buying into it, cheering for it.
Yeah, suddenly it's everywhere.
Exactly. And before you know it, you're swept up too, maybe without even a clear reason why. It's this powerful current, and I think we've all felt its pull at some point.
Absolutely.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into that very phenomenon, the bandwagon effect. It's this really fascinating psychological force where, well, we adopt beliefs or behaviors simply because lots of other people already have.
It's subtle.
It is, and it's pervasive, and it really shapes our choices, probably more than we realize.
And our mission for you today really is to go beyond just, defining the bandwagon effect.
Yeah.
We want to unlock its surprising origins.
Yeah, the history is wild.
It is. And reveal the clever ways it influences our daily lives, and maybe most importantly, equip you with the insights and tools to spot it, understand its flaws, and ultimately make more independent, more informed choices. Get ready for some serious aha moments, hopefully.
I love that aha moments.
Yeah.
Because honestly, this seemingly simple idea, it's actually a pretty complex interplay of psychology, history, even economics.
It really touches on a lot.
We're going to trace its journey from, well, a literal parade float to this powerful mental shortcut we all use.
Okay, let's do it.
So let's start at the beginning. At its core, the bandwagon effect. It seems to be about aligning with popular opinion. Simple enough.
Well, yes and no. It's both straightforward and incredibly complex when you peel back the layers. To really dig into that definition, think of it as a mental shortcut, right? A cognitive bias.
Okay, a bias.
Yeah, where the more people jump on an idea or a trend or a behavior,
Yeah.
the faster everyone else tends to follow. And here's the critical piece, I think.
What's that?
This happens regardless of whether that idea actually has any merit or underlying evidence.
Wow, okay, so it's not about truth.
Not necessarily. It's not really about truth or quality. It's about popularity.
Yeah.
At its heart, the bandwagon effect exploits maybe three powerful human drives.
Okay.
First, our deep-seated need for social validation. That feeling of everyone's doing it, so I should too.
Right, fitting in.
Exactly. It also acts as a cognitive shortcut. It saves us the mental effort of evaluating everything individually. Much easier to just follow the crowd.
The path of least resistance?
Precisely. And perhaps most powerfully, it's driven by an emotional fear of exclusion. Nobody wants to be left behind, right?
Yeah.
Feel like the odd one out.
So if I'm hearing you right, it's less about what's demonstrably good or true and more, much more, about what's popular.
That's a huge part of it.
Is it fair to say our brains are almost like wired to prioritize that social signal, that easier path, sometimes even over our own independent judgment?
I think that's fair, yeah. Our brains are incredibly efficient machines, always looking for ways to, conserve energy.
Makes sense.
So when you're faced with a complex decision or some new trend, following the crowd can feel like the safest, easiest option, even if we don't consciously realize we're doing it.
Which brings us to a part of this deep dive that I found genuinely fascinating, just mind-blowing, really. The phrase jump on the bandwagon. It actually has a very literal and surprisingly political origin. It's not just some abstract saying we came up with.
That's absolutely right. It's not abstract at all. The metaphorical use of the term comes directly from a literal bandwagon.
Like a real wagon.
Yes. Those brightly decorated wagons carrying musical ensembles and parades, often associated with circuses or other big events back in the day.
Okay, I can picture that.
The phrase first stepped into the American political arena way back in 1848, during Zachary Taylor's presidential campaign.
1848. Wow. So a presidential candidate and a circus. That's quite the historical image.
It is, isn't it? There was this very popular circus clown of the era named Dan Rice. Hugely famous.
Dan Rice, okay.
And he was well known for inviting Taylor to join his bandwagon during parades. Sort of a celebrity endorsement 19th century style.
Right.
And as Taylor's campaign gained momentum, became more successful, a common refrain emerged. People started saying that Taylor's political opponents ought to jump on the bandwagon themselves.
I see where this is going.
If they wanted to be associated with success. It was kind of a cynical, but definitely strategic invitation to align with the perceived winner.
So it literally started as a strategic political maneuver, join the parade, look good, gain public favor, almost like a very transparent attempt at social proof back then.
Precisely. But the meaning, it evolved over time.
How so?
Well, by By William Jennings Bryan's 1900 presidential campaign, bandwagons were pretty standard fare in politics. Everyone had one.
Right.
But by this point, the phrase jump on the bandwagon had taken on a more, well, derogatory connotation.
Oh, okay, negative.
Yeah, it started to imply that people were just associating themselves with success without really thinking critically about the ideas or the merits of what they were joining. It became a criticism, really, of shallow allegiance.
So it went from strategic move to kind of an insult.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating how this shift in everyday language sort of mirrors the growing academic interest in the effect itself that really picked up steam in the 1980s, heavily influenced by earlier work like the famous Asch conformity experiment back in the 1950s.
Oh, yeah, the lines experiment.
That's the one, which just beautifully illustrated how potent group pressure can be in shaping, even distorting individual judgment.
That's a perfect bridge then. So from a strategic political move, literally joining a parade, it morphed into this powerful psychological force that can, well, mess with our judgments. But why is it so deeply ingrained in us? What makes us so susceptible? Is it simply about wanting to fit in, or are there deeper mechanisms at play in our minds?
It's definitely more than just wanting to fit in, although that's a huge part of it. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
We're talking about deeply wired human responses to group pressure and norms. When an idea or belief gains popularity, there's this almost irresistible pull to conform.
Right.
We can probably break down the individual reasons why we hop on into maybe a few key categories.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, there's the mental shortcut we talked about. Our brains are designed for efficiency, right?
Lazy brains.
Oh, maybe. Evaluating every single piece of info, every trend, every product, it's just exhausting. So following the crowd becomes a heuristic, a quick rule that saves effort.
Makes sense. What else?
Second, and this is crucial, there's the desire to belong. This is what psychologists call normative social influence.
Normative, okay.
We conform to gain approval, and maybe even more powerfully, to avoid being the odd one out. Think about the spiral of silence theory.
Oh, remind me.
It's where people are less likely to voice an opinion if they think it's in the minority. So fewer people speak up, which makes the majority opinion seem even stronger, amplifying the bandwagon.
Ah, got it. Creates a false consensus.
Exactly. Then there's the desire to be right. We call this informational social influence.
Informational? How's that different?
It's the assumption that if a large number of people believe something or are doing something, they must know something we don't. The majority is perceived as more knowledgeable, more correct.
Okay, so we trust the crowd's wisdom sometimes.
Right. And this can spark something called informational cascades. That's where people effectively ignore their own private signals or doubts and just follow what others are doing. This is how fads can form incredibly quickly. But it also means they can collapse just as fast if that initial signal turns out to be wrong.
Interesting. Like a house of cards.
Sort of, yeah. And of course, a very modern driver, fear of missing out, FOMO.
Oh, FOMO is huge now.
It really is. That anxiety about not participating in what everyone else seems to be doing or enjoying. And let's not forget the maybe more primal urge to be on the winning side.
Right. Nobody likes backing a loser.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whether it's voting for a leading political candidate or backing a dominant sports team, we often just want to associate ourselves with success.
It really sounds like our brains are constantly making these unconscious calculations, don't they? Balancing effort, social acceptance, being right, wanting to win.
They are. It's like a subconscious self-preservation mechanism, maybe, that can sometimes override pure rational thought.
Yeah.
And the effect isn't just static. It's a self-reinforcing mechanism. It spreads through a positive feedback loop.
How does that work?
Well, a new concept might start small, right?
Yeah.
A few enthusiasts. But once it reaches a certain point, a critical mass, it gets amplified. Social media, traditional media, word of mouth, everything picks it up. This creates what's called an availability cascade.
Availability cascade.
Yeah, where a belief just gains more and more prominence and plausibility simply because it's being talked about so much. It snowballs into a full-blown bandwagon.
And this isn't just, academic theory in a textbook. You see the bandwagon effect playing out absolutely everywhere, almost every corner in our lives.
It is truly pervasive.
Yeah.
Often without us even realizing it.
So where do we see it most clearly?
Well, think about politics, for instance. It definitely influences voters. People might alter their preferences towards candidates or policies that seem popular.
Just because they're popular.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily based on deep policy analysis, but because they want to feel like they're on the winner's side. This can even lead activists to strategically funnel resources
Oh, interesting.
to candidates who are perceived as frontrunners, which, of course, further solidifies that perception of popular support. It feeds itself.
Right, makes them look even more like a winner. What about economics?
Oh, in economics, it actually challenges some fundamental assumptions. The economist Gary Becker, Nobel laureate, he famously argued it can even make the demand curve upward sloping.
Wait, upward sloping, isn't it always downward? Price goes up, demand goes down.
Usually, yes.
Yeah.
So that's a standard model. But Becker argued that with the bandwagon effect, demand can actually rise with price.
How?
Because the higher price, or the fact that many others are buying it, is seen as a signal of desirability, exclusivity, or high quality. Think luxury goods, maybe.
Okay, I can sort of see that.
And you definitely see it in financial markets. It's a big factor in price bubbles.
Like stocks or crypto.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Investors bid up popular securities way beyond their intrinsic value, often just because everyone else is doing it. Herd behavior.
Yeah, we've seen that happen.
And in microeconomics, the classic example is choosing a crowded restaurant over an empty one next door.
Huh. Okay, I am definitely guilty of that one. I always assume the busy place must be better.
We all do it. We assume it must be good if so many people are there. It's a quick judgment based on the crowd.
That crowded restaurant thing is such a perfect example. And the upward sloping demand curve, that's genuinely shocking. It completely flips basic economics on its head.
It really does challenge the simple models. And perhaps more worryingly, we even see medical bandwagons.
Medical bandwagons? What are those?
These refer to the sometimes overwhelming acceptance of unproved but suddenly popular medical ideas or treatments.
That sounds dangerous.
It can be.
Yeah.
Alarmingly, this has historically led to inappropriate therapies being widely adopted, and it can actually hinder the development or acceptance of better evidence-based treatments.
What drives those?
Lots of factors.
Yeah.
Media publicity, hyping a new cure, vested interests, sometimes public pressure on doctors, and honestly, just the difficulty doctors face in critically evaluating the sheer volume of new information. It's easier sometimes to go with what seems popular or what patients are demanding.
Wow. So from how we spend our money to how we vote and even potentially life and death health decisions, the bandwagon effect is just, it's everywhere.
Absolutely. And then, in more everyday contexts like sports, you have the classic bandwagon fan.
Yes, the fair weather fan.
Exactly. Only start supporting a team once it starts winning consistently. Or, in social networking and fashion, the adoption of popular apps, styles, challenges, heavily influenced by celebrities, influencers, peer pressure.
Yeah, you see trends explode overnight online.
You do. And what's interesting, there's some research suggests that qualitative cues, like specific positive comments online, can often sway users more than just quantitative cues, like the sheer number of likes or followers.
So what people say matters more than just how many people like it.
It seems so in some contexts.
Right.
It's not just the size of the crowd, but the perceived enthusiasm or reasoning of the crowd, even if it's brief.
Okay, this is all fascinating psychologically, but you mentioned something else earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You said the bandwagon effect is also recognized as a logical fallacy.
That's right. It is. Beyond its psychological influence, it's formally considered an error in reasoning.
Okay, that raises a really important question for our own thinking then. What does it mean for something to be a logical fallacy? And I guess how does that impact our ability to reason clearly and make sound decisions?
That's a crucial distinction to make. As a logical fallacy, sometimes called argumentum ad populum, it means the bandwagon effect represents mistaken reasoning.
Mistaken how?
The core error is assuming that something must be right or good or true simply because many people believe it or are doing it.
Ah, okay. Just because it's popular doesn't make it correct.
Precisely. Popularity does not automatically equate to truth or quality or correctness. It fundamentally undermines the logic of an argument. An idea isn't good because it's popular. It should be considered good because of its own intrinsic merit, the evidence supporting it, sound reasoning.
So relying on popularity is sort of cheating the argumentative process.
You could say that. The danger is subtle. It allows us to feel confident in a belief or a choice, not because we've actually vetted it ourselves, but because we've essentially outsourced our critical thinking to the crowd. Interestingly, there's also the flip side, the reverse bandwagon effect, sometimes called the snob effect.
Snob effect.
Yeah, where people actively avoid something precisely because it's popular. They want to be unique, different, countercultural.
So they're still reacting to the crowd, just negatively.
Exactly. It's still letting the crowd's behavior dictate your own, just in the opposite direction. Still not purely independent thinking.
Okay, so If it's a fallacy, if it can lead us astray and undermine our own reasoning, how can we, our listener, arm ourselves against it? What practical steps can we actually take to ensure we're making more authentic, independent choices, not just following the herd?
That's the key question, isn't it? It really boils down to cultivating critical thinking and fostering independent evaluation. That's your best defense. You really can actively fight against this natural pull.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice?
Well, there's some concrete, actionable steps you can take. Think of it like building mental habit.
Like what?
First, always ask for evidence. Actively question things. Don't just accept something because it's popular. Demand to know why. Is there actual support for it?
Okay, demand evidence. Got it.
Second, consciously work to separate majority opinion from logical merit. Just keep reminding yourself, popularity does not equal validity. They are two different things.
Right. Keep them separate.
Third, try to identify hidden incentives. Ask yourself, who really benefits if I follow this crowd? Is there a marketing push, a political agenda?
Good question. Who benefits? Okay.
Fourth, examine the timing. Did this belief or practice suddenly gain traction overnight? If so, why? Was it a gradual buildup based on real substance or just a sudden fad?
Look at the timeline. Makes sense.
Next, maybe try to build your personal criteria for decisions before you're swept up in a trend. Define your own standards, your own values first.
Be prepared beforehand.
Exactly. And related to that, slow down your decision cycle. Resist that